I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where this time I'll remember to turn my microphone on before recording. Apparently that's important. Where we break down all the goals scored in the Premier League, and today we're doing Everton against Arsenal at Goodison Park. Now, Goodison is, I'm telling you, they're going to regret leaving Goodison Park. It's one of those places that's always been difficult to go to, and now they're just going to be in another generic stadium. And mark my words, that's all part of a building plan for the Super League. And I know you don't get it yet, but maybe you do. About it doesn't matter because it's just generic Stadium B, and everyone's just playing in generic stadium. So home and away games won't matter, and we can put them anywhere in the world. I'm telling you, it's coming. And it won't be in the next 5, but it will happen. And the other reason I'm bringing that up is because we're going to be talking about dodgy referee decisions again, and we've got it again not this week, this game is every week. But first off, we're going to talk about Jordan Pickford right here, and just a little clip of him trying to pass a football, which is just shocking. Look, it's just awful. He's trying to pass a ball with his left foot. He can't do it. And this guy's supposed to be England's #1 or whatever. I cannot believe that people think this guy is a good goalkeeper. I think he's an awful human being. Some of the tackles and challenges he puts in on people. He did it again against Liverpool. Darwin Núñez, that was the guy. He took him out again. Like, some of the stuff that this guy does, he's terrible at football and terrible at passing the ball, as we just saw. But let's move it on because we've got a lot to talk about. Here we are when Arsenal go off and score from a little counter-attack, little transitional play here. But what we're going to look at is two Everton players that are trying to win the football. One's actually not, he's too busy fighting. Other one's jumping up to head the ball. Now, this is one of those differences where when you start playing at a higher standard, or you're coaching at a higher standard, you understand the difference between you're not winning the ball if you're not winning the ball. Well, what does that mean, Cash? Well, jumping up and heading the ball doesn't mean that you've won the ball. Jumping up, heading the ball, and then maintaining possession means that you've won the ball. Just jumping up and challenging for the header isn't good enough. You have to be able to jump up, challenge it, and get the ball into an area where you know you're going to recover it. Your team is going to recover it, next time around. The problem is Everton under David Moyes. I mean, David Moyes isn't that sort of coach. He doesn't understand that sort of next level of play. He'll get you to win the ball, but not necessarily win the ball and then to maintain possession to do a thing forward, right? And you can see that between these two players here, because right now, this is the guy that needs to be headering the ball, not him. He is running towards this way. That's the direction the ball needs to go. He's running this way, and that's the only direction the ball's going to go, because that's his direction he's running. Simple things in football matter. He needs to header the ball, not him. And what ends up happening is, boom, look, two players. Now no one's got the ball, and it drops. I think it's Raheem Sterling here, and it drops, and off he starts going. Now, this was a couple of years ago, maybe there would have been an acceleration of pace. Look, he's like going, what's going on? I thought someone should have been there to receive the ball that I wrongfully headed in the wrong area. And the other guy's going, well, no, because I should have been the one headering the ball. But that's a problem when you have a system that is just about trying to head the ball or knock it forward without any purpose. Classic sort of David Moyes football, unfortunately. It is what it is. And you get situations that you put your team under pressure and they end up scoring goals on themselves, technically, because they don't do that little extra bit or understand that little extra bit, or the team isn't set up properly to make sure things like this don't happen. Now, it's just a case they're off to the race. Credit where credit's due, though, here for Everton. They are getting back. Watch how many players, here's the ball, how many players are defending or in line but end up getting back in time, okay? That's important. That means they can actually defend this properly. They don't, and have a guess why. Now, of course, we've got the arbitrary telling somebody what to do, and we know in the next 5 seconds someone's going to score a goal, because what you should be doing is going towards the ball and shutting down everything that he's trying to do. You can see you've got cover, you can see people are coming in, and you are miles away from the goal. So right now, you don't need to be backing off. You need to be trying to close this space here to cut that passing lane out. The further you are down here, that passing lane goes. You open one up over here, or you can run this way, but you don't care, because then you've isolated the player, and then you can try to win the ball, and you've got cover coming to help you as well. You need to shut that gap. Doesn't do it. Look, bum, bum, bum. You can see he's telling him where to go, What is he not focused on? Winning the football. If you're too busy pointing and screaming and not winning the football, you're not doing your job. That distance is too far. He's got all the time in the world. And here's the other point. He ends up confusing this player here, because he's telling him, come back. Look at his body shape, his shoulders. He is facing that way, not even facing the player. The player's completely in behind him, totally up and utterly behind him here. because he's actually facing the wrong way. I mean, it's just poor body shape here. He needs to be facing that way. That's the way he needs to be facing. That's where his shoulders need to be. Actually, he needs to be a little bit better, but like that. But what I'm doing is just doing the counterpoint from his shoulders to facing that way to the other way. And as we go forward, look, bump. He does do a really nice turn, though. Now this is the point you pressure the ball, okay? And this is what you realise how poor the standard of coaching and football is becoming in the Premier League. Immediately as that ball starts to go, he has to sprint and close that gap. He has to. That's his time to get there. Okay. And then what he needs to do as he's running towards it, depending on the moment that this guy takes a touch, is the moment you stop running. But if you're not running, you can't close at least 2 yards on him. You're not going to tackle him. You're just closing the space. Closing the space is important, but when he takes his touch, you're going to be here and you're not backing away. Look at how much extra space he's got because his body shape is wrong. This guy's here, body shape was wrong. He didn't close that extra yard or two. And now Trossard can just run at him and do what he wants. And that's what he does. Feigns to go inside a little bit, but I want you to see, look how many Everton players are now back. All right. So they have players back. But because this guy here doesn't understand basic defending, he's allowed Trossard to receive the ball, Trossard to turn, Trossard to run with it, and he's too far away because that gap is just too big. Now, his covering player has come in and he hasn't helped him at all. All he's doing is kind of shut him down coming into the inside. It doesn't matter, really. And then all Trossard's doing, takes a shot and beats the keeper, which he should never have done from that angle. It's just poor all round from Everton. Not bad from Trossard. I do quite like him. I think he's a little bit overrated for the level he is, but I think he can play much better than he actually is, but there we go. Let's move it on. See, now this is the other problem with refereeing. If, I think it's Trossard again here, goes down, this is a penalty all day long. He actually hurdles the player, jumps up. If he falls down there, they're giving that as a penalty. All he has to do is kind of half jump, drag his leg a bit, get caught by the defender, because the defender's nowhere near the ball, and it's a penalty. Like, technically now it's not, because there's no real contact. He's jumped out of the way of the player. He's ruined his goal scoring opportunity because he's actually hurdled the player. And if he was a little bit dishonest and goes down, he gets his team a penalty there. Now that's the dichotomy. What do you want? An honest player to have an honest league, or to win the game of football? And that's the massive problem you've got to answer yourself. Now here's the start of the contact from this dodgy penalty decision here, right? So that's where the initial foul takes place, if this is a foul, right? Because I'm going to show you a couple of things that I can show you. And there's lots of things I can't show you because, as normal, they don't show you all the replays and they don't give you all of the angles that you really want so you can see what's going on. So as we drop this forward, bump, we see a bit of pushing and shoving, but he's not really pushing and shoving. He's just leaning. Lewis Skelly's just leaning into the Everton player. And all he does is run away. As soon as he gets into the box, he falls over. Look, gets in there and then he falls over. You can see the Everton player's thrown himself to the ground. So then we're going to go, is there contact from the arm as Lewis Skelly pulling him back? Because that would be a penalty. Let's have a look. Again, we want to look at this arm. Cannot see it here because the angle, that's the angle we want that we can't see. His arm's there, but you can see that his arm's not holding him. How do we know that? From this point here, look, it's still outside the box, right? If this is a penalty, it's still outside the box. So, yeah. But look at his arm. His arm isn't pulling or holding him in any way, shape or form. And that's the last piece that we can see. We can't see the second and a half before then, right? If he's actually holding him and pulling him and shoving him. But it doesn't look like it because his shirt's not moving. So there is no real foul there. And then when they end up falling to the ground, look, you see Skelly loses his feet. He falls there. He's falling. Absolutely falling to the ground. His foot isn't getting caught and then he drags his own foot into the ground, gets himself a penalty because the refereeing's bad. But I want to show you another angle because I guarantee you, if we could see from the straight on angle, that this would be clearly never a penalty. So this is what I'm trying to show you. You expect, if this is a penalty, Lewis Skelly's arm to be wrapped around there, but you can see his shoulder is dipped. So that means his arm's going down there, right? It's not wrapping around the front of the player. That's the angle we want right at the front there, so to actually see that. And you can see there, look, it's not pulled away, and away we go. Never a penalty. Everton get themselves a goal because, well, apparently the rules of football just don't count anymore. Maybe because if we upset you enough by the refereeing and what's going on, and you'll be clamouring for better referees when we bring you the Super League. Mark my words, it's going to happen. It's a penalty. It's a goal. What a shocker. Referee ruins another game of football. Other than that, leave us one of those likey things. I never ask for any of that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.